Hello and welcome to our HPCC Systems Open Source 10 years anniversary series. In this series, as you are probably used to, we have always guests from our community, people that have been involved with the community for a long time, and this time it's certainly no exception. I have the pleasure to have here with us two of our core academic collaborators in our community for more than a decade. Those are Professor Borko, and everyone knows Borko Furht, so he needs no introduction, and Professor Taghi Khoshgoftaar, who has also been one of our core collaborators for a very long time. So, first of all, thank you for being here and welcome Borko and Taghi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
So let's, because this is a 10 years anniversary series, I like to stroll down the memory lane a little bit and see how all of this started. So, Porco, do you remember how we met each other and how we started this entire journey? That was a long time ago, right? I think 13 years ago?
of course, we remember very well. We work with you guys even longer than 10 years, but we remember when you started HPCC 10 years ago, and even I visited you in Boca Raton, and you gave the presentations, you and your researchers, how you are starting HPCC, and it's going to be open system, and we were very excited at that time. And at that time, we all looked a little younger, but we are still in good shape and we are still running HPCC.
Very true. The hair is turning white, but we still do it. So one more thing there, Borko. You've been really behind the CAKE Center. For those who don't know CAKE, and I'm pretty sure most of you do, is the Center for Advanced Knowledge Enablement in FAU. Borko, you've been the organizer, coordinator, architect behind it, brain and heart. Would you mind telling the audience a little bit more about the CAKE Center and how CAKE has been also instrumental to spreading the word and getting the community and getting research done through that center?
Yeah, our center CAKE, which is Center for Industry University Collaboration for Advanced Knowledge Enablement, where LexisNexis really belongs and fits very well, started 2009. So we celebrate 12 years, and we are now applying for the phase number 3. And LexisNexis, I should say, you were the first member. In the meantime, we had 45 members, mostly from South Florida. However, few members from outside of the country, from Europe, several members from different areas, like from Boston, Taghi Systems. However, LexisNexis and HPCC as a main platform were members for all these 10 or now 11 years, because we are now with you in the 11th year. We already asked you for letter of support that you sent us yesterday for phase 3. Center, what we do for industry generally, industry pay the membership, which is relatively low. This membership is nothing else but mostly for students, and these are graduate students, either PhD or sometimes master. Faculty like Taghi, myself, and many others supervise these students, and they work on the projects proposed by you. So probably during this interview, we'll tell you more about these projects which we worked in CAKE and supervised by professors. At the end of the project, in most cases, you even hired these students. So now you have a number of our FAU students working LexisNexis, like Victor was one of them, and Edo Muharemagic and many others who were our students, and then you hired them.
So that's a great, and that's I think a good segue to the student and the learning and the research collaboration that we have done in so many ways with so many good people there. So Taghi, since you have been also quite instrumental in all of these collaborations, and you have been the mentor behind many of these great students, so can you tell us a little bit how you got involved in all of this and some of your experience throughout this research collaboration over the past decade or so?
Yeah, as you said that we started, I think that with one student that back in March of, I think to be exact, March of 2012, that we started the one graduate student learning about ECL and then your platform and doing the HPCC and so on. So he was the first student that who would work on the project, that joint project that we had. And because the platform is different, the language is different, so he learned all those things. And then we had many other students that followed him and they learned from him and so on. So I think this was quite good for us. We are very, very good. And also students that who graduated from this program, as Borko said, they were hired by you or hired by other competitors, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, community members sometimes.
Yeah, for me, yeah,
Yes.
that's
So,
exactly.
and I want to say that this has been really beneficial for the community as well. A very large number of new features, new capabilities on HPCC, particularly around machine learning, deep learning, and others, have been built by many of your students. So this has gone both ways. It has helped everyone.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that when we started that, forgot, but I'm going to say this, but when we started that back to 2012, 2013, we were, what HPCC, but we didn't have a machine learning algorithm, too many machine learning algorithm. So we developed that, as you said, deep learning algorithm, we developed that, and the random forest and other things. So we added to the library. Let's put it like, Python library, but that was HPCC library. So that's what, my student did it. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to expose how students have been involved in this and have been helping drive the community. And as you said before, all of these people have been instrumental to many of these new features and perhaps stay engaged in many cases. And yeah, some of them have been hired by LexisNexis, by other people in the community and other companies. But I think
Mostly
it
to LexisNexis. I'm sorry, not to other companies. To
well,
LexisNexis. I'm
sure,
sorry.
yeah. Very good point there, Borko. Yes, yeah. Many of them are now part of the LexisNexis family as well. Yes, yeah, yeah. So just a little bit more to you, Borko. You've been involved with this again for a very long time, and you've been driving some of these collaborations, and those some of them have to do with Taghi as the mentor, but you have also brought other people to the collaboration as well. Several other professors and other researchers that are in FAU have been involved with some of this because you brought them also to the scene. So, what's been your experience in general when you got them involved? Do you think it has been positive in general for them, for their students, for the community?
I should emphasize that really LexisNexis and HPCC helped us to write proposals, mostly to National Science Foundation, and receive awards. And as you're familiar, we got several joint awards. One was in 2015 for researching Ebola, and now in 2020 for researching COVID-19. Your researchers, uh, many of them were involved, and we wrote several joint papers. And our researchers, we had a team of 5, 6 researchers and students involved in these projects. We just published 3 excellent papers in Journal of Big Data, where we have both our professors and students, mostly PhD students, plus you personally, plus your team, about 3, 4, 5 people involved in doing this research and presenting the papers. So we are so happy that LexisNexis helped us to develop this research in different areas. And if you look at these papers, we thank LexisNexis for HPC system. Why? Because all these algorithms were developed on HPCC. We explain why, because it provided a high speed. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to track COVID-19 on the regular systems. It will take 2 days to predict what will happen tomorrow. And
Yeah.
here it takes very few minutes. And these papers are published, and they really brought another dimension to our research with LexisNexis jointly.
Very good. Yeah, those are very good points. And I think there is there are all of these technical benefits on an open source community that the platform can get better. But also there are all of these intangible benefits, which are also quite important. And you mentioned the research on Ebola, the research on COVID-19, all of these type of researches that are helping in some way humanity as a whole. It gives a completely different and broader perspective to the community, right? How much you can touch lives and other people positively by having an open source community help do some of this research, right? So that's I think quite important. So so Taghi, back to you then. So can you tell us a little bit about what's going on today? What are maybe some of your current students working on, or what have they have been doing over the past maybe a year, a couple of years, and what do you see coming down the road?
Yeah, as you know that but Flavio, that I work in big data, the issues related to big data, and so we are looking at that, and we are continuing what during the last 3-4 years. And you mentioned what I'm doing. That again, when it comes to the big data, that we have one of the major issues, we don't have too many labeled data. So we have millions and millions or billions of what the unlabeled data. We have labeled data very few, and the positive cases we have very few. So that's or we have the other scenario that you have very few positive cases, and then you have labeled data the millions and billions negative cases. So the question is, what are the challenges here to building a reliable predictive models? That's really the challenge that we are looking at, and from the feature selection point of view, and then one other issue that I think is true as of today, that how we can use the transfer learning, really learn from what we had it before, we can use it for new scenarios. I think for big data as well. So I think this is because we don't have labeled data at all. So what we do, so we have to transfer some of the things we learned that in the past for this current project. I think this is one other thing I wanted to say, that I think very important, that I had one student that Robbie Kennedy participated in internship program also is very important. That but you had it, I don't know you have it this year or not, because the COVID changed many things, so we know that. But I think that's also was very important, that what internship during the summer and so on. But we learn from you and you learn from us. So it's by by direction. So that's what also very important.
Yeah, it is, and hopefully I want to believe that COVID-19 is being left now in the rearview mirror. Unfortunately, some of the current outbreaks in some countries like India are still concerning, but I hope that as vaccination spreads and there is more, in general, vaccination around the world, that eventually COVID-19 will just be a memory for most of us, which is good. A sad memory, but a memory. So I hope that all of these programs will continue to go strong as soon as all of these things get addressed. But you're absolutely right. This is a two-way street where really it helps every party involved in the community. Again, on your side, because your students get exposed to technology and to potentially other people that can help mentor them and give them a different perspective on things, and they can also bring some of their knowledge into these fields, and of course, and also even deliver components that can be then reused and extended by the rest of the community. So that's absolutely important. So I don't want to make this too long, so I want to get just towards the closing of this particular session. So Borko, can you tell us a little bit more about CAIC's objectives for this third cycle? So I know that because of the engagement with the National Science Foundation, each one of these collaboration centers have different cycles, right? And you've been through 2 of those cycles. I think they are 5 years long, if I'm not mistaken. So you're applying now for another 5 years, right?
we applied for another 5 years. It's really both first 5 years, there were 6 years. Why? Because you always ask for no cost extension to finish the project. So it was 6 plus 6. So we are really now 12, full 12 years. We are applying for the other 5 years, where NSF give us some kind of, we call this seed money. And then, as you know, we collect from different companies. We had total 45 companies, as I said before, as members during these 12 years. Of course, LexisNexis, your company, was the most loyal, the most important projects. And I should also mention that we received just recently so-called NSF, they call this National Science Foundation Research Trainship Award. And LexisNexis, you, Flavio, you wrote a big support letter to train our students in data science, technology, and applications. And this is one of the biggest NSF awards, 2.4 million for 5 years, where a number of faculty are involved to teach students. And we select the best students. We just finished our first cohort selection, 9 students who receive extremely high scholarship and pay tuition. The scholarship is 34,000. It's almost like a small salary, and we had 34 candidates to apply for 34,000. However, money was only for 9,000. We start in spring. We will invite also guest speakers from industry, which will be involved in a number of classes. You are one of the candidates, and I'm sure that you will accept the letters.
Of course I will, yes, absolutely.
To give industry perspective in these classes. For example, first 3 classes in spring are Introduction to Data Science, Fundamental of Artificial Intelligence, and Deep Learning. So 3 very important classes that all relates to LexisNexis, and we will have a number of our students, these MRT students, plus additional regular students in the class. So this is I should also say that NSF selected only one university in the United States to do this, and this is Florida Atlantic University. They had 300 applicants. They selected 17 awards. One is ours. 16 others is in completely different fields. I went to Washington to a webinar. So, and in our proposal, it was LexisNexis big name that industry will be involved, and mostly LexisNexis was the major player there. So you are in this proposal, yeah.
Those are amazing news.
But can I add something? What Flavio?
Of course, of course.
Okay. Yeah. Here it is. What before I forget that, I think not only we were training a student. I think the contribution of LexisNexis was tremendous to our student, all our students, not just those who are working. We are mentoring. You know, that's like Borko is mentoring or I'm mentoring. For example, you came that for many years. That Flavio, you gave the talk at in my data mining and machine learning class. You know, every semester you came and gave it that for the last 7-8 years. So this is very important for a student to hear from industry, and also that during the engineering week, the folks from LexisNexis came and talked to all students in the College of Engineering. So it is a broader impact, you know, not just what students who are working with us that we are mentoring. So I think it has, but LexisNexis had a bigger impact that in our program.
This is great. So even though I've been involved, as you said, and I've known about this, it is sometimes so great to hear these things all together in a single place, right? I still, as I said before, believe that there is so much opportunity to touch positively lives of people, and an open source community project might be one of those ways, right, where you can truly create a positive impact in many people and even humanity and some of the far-reaching type of research that you've been doing as well. So thank you very much. Yes, yeah.
Can I ask a question now to you?
Of course.
Simple question. In the back of you, I see some blue book. Can you tell us what this book is about? Can you show?
Yes, of course. I have a couple of blue books there, and you probably know this as well as I do. Yes, yes. I don't want to cover the.
Data intensive and big data technology and applications. And I should say this book were developed really by LexisNexis people. Of course, the authors are only two, more editors. Inside there are at least 20 to 25 authors from LexisNexis. Their chapters, thank you for them, and so on. So this is another very good ideas that we work together on publications. These books were sold thousands of copies worldwide, so they can see immediately LexisNexis products and services and everything else. And I'm sure that you're giving to customers free copies.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, folks. Again, Borko, Taghi, I can't be grateful enough for everything you've done for us over the years. And sometimes as we get old, we think, oh, 10 years is nothing. No, 10 years is a lifetime, right? So this has been a very long time, a great collaboration, something that has created so much value for us as LexisNexis, also for us as the HPC open source community. But also, I think, as I said before, for so many people as well that have participated and got so many benefits from this collaboration in general. So thank you.
See you next time in 10 years again.
Hopefully before that, but yes, I'll see you. We'll see each other in 10 years for sure. Yes, absolutely.
Or another celebration.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I will see you in my classes very soon.
Of course you will. Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much. Bye.